Madam Chair, I have authored Senate Bill 1582 to ensure that every cruise ship entering and exiting a California port has a qualified ocean ranger on board reporting to the California Department of Justice. I introduced the bill for 3 reasons: to protect the public on board, to enhance homeland security, and to ensure compliance with California law, which prohibits offshore dumping of cruise ship waste. The measure is funded by a negligible fee, $1 a day per passenger. Now let me address right up front the obvious question: is there a need? I'm convinced there is. Congressional testimony, accounts in the press, and industry statistics all suggest a serious public safety concern and an industry response which has too often been wanting. Too many passengers are telling us that in the aftermath of an unhappy or even tragic experience, the industry's official response is see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Disinterest and denial are 2 common complaints. When you climb on board a cruise ship, you've got alcohol, gambling, ambiguous jurisdiction, no law enforcement, and a strong public relations incentive to deny any problem. Under that set of circumstances, every trip is a potential tragedy waiting to happen. And in a moment, you'll hear from our witnesses, a couple of folks who can share with you just how tragic those circumstances can be. On the environmental front, California can be proud that we have some of the toughest anti-dumping laws in the nation to prevent cruise ships from dumping along our coasts. I have authored some of those. You have supported them. Thank you, Madam Chair. Governor Schwarzenegger has been good enough to sign them into law. But a good law on the books is only as good as the enforcement and compliance that back it up. With an onboard ocean ranger, we can make sure that compliance and coastal protection are real to the benefit of our environment, the public health, and the economic resources.
Senator Simitian, I'm going to ask for your witnesses at this point.
Thank you.
Okay, 2 witnesses to testify briefly. Identify yourself.
Yes, I'm Ken Carver, president of International Cruise Victims. Prior to that, I was president of an insurance company in New York City for 18 years. We lost a daughter. Very quickly, the cruise line failed to report her missing for 5 weeks to the FBI. They disposed of her property at once, gave it away to charity. They told us there was no videos. When we asked for videos, we found out, and this is in 204, we found out in January of this year there were videos that they kept for 90 days, which they kept denying that they had. They made a report to the FBI that said nothing happened on this cruise. And they indicated that the steward had made no reports on Marine. After spending $75,000 in 4.5 months, we found out he had reported her missing daily for 5 days on that ship, and his boss told him forget it. At the end, they took her goods and got rid of them, gave them away to charity. So what have we learned about the cruise line industry? That they take the legal position, they do not investigate crimes, and they're not equipped to do so. We have that in writing. At the request of a congressional hearing, we met with the FBI last summer on July 25th. They indicated to us they do not have the resources to follow up on crimes on cruise ships. So in effect, the cruise lines say they don't follow up on these. The FBI says they don't have the resources, so it means nobody does nothing when a crime occurs on a cruise ship. And believe me, I suffered from that. The LA Times did an article in January of 2006-7, which showed that for Royal Caribbean, for a 3-year period of time, the actual sexual crime rate was 50% greater than in the average American city. And in addition, there's a concern of terrorism. The RAND Corporation has done a major report indicating that cruise ships are extremely vulnerable to terrorism. We do more to check a cargo ship than a cruise ship. Our goal is not to destroy the cruise lines, but to hold them accountable. Now, the cruise lines say,
Sir,
and they'll say to you,
Sir, I'm going to ask you to wrap up.
Okay. They'll say to you, we have a 0 tolerance for crime. They did that in 1999. If they have a 0 tolerance for crime, then that says there's nothing they won't do to prevent crime, and the last thing they want to do is get somebody independent on that ship to make sure that nothing happens. We support this bill.
And thank you for stepping forward. My deepest condolences to you and your family for what occurred. Next witness to testify.
My name is Laurie Dishman. And I went on a cruise in 2006 with my best friend, Michelle. And I was raped by a security guard who worked for Royal Caribbean. He was actually filling in as a security guard, and he was a janitor. When I reported the rape, the purser and the head security officer came to the room. They sat on the bed where the rape occurred. They forced me to stay in that room until I could go see the doctor. And at that time, when I saw the doctor, I wasn't even treated. I was given 2 garbage bags to go back and collect my own evidence, and then had to stay in the same room, and until they Michelle was the only one that was helping me, that she asked if we could have a different room. We then the next day got off the ship. They never put the rapist in the brig. There was no, I didn't feel safe in the halls. I felt terrified. The FBI picked us up from the airport in Los Angeles. We reported it. They took pictures of the bruises on my neck. When I was raped, I was wearing a tampon. I know that the importance of the Ocean Ranger to help someone such as myself that is raped, or if something happens on a cruise ship, there is no security. There is no law. There is no, it's a lawless environment. And the cruise line did not implement any meaningful changes after I testified in March of 2007 before the United States Congress. And my Congresswoman Doris Matsui was the only way that I was able to even obtain my own medical records. They kept refusing to send me things. The only thing the cruise line, Royal Caribbean, would send me was marketing material to take another cruise. The state of California needs to protect the citizens of the state and tourists who use our ports to sail on cruise ships with their families. The presence of an Ocean Ranger is a good first start. The foreign flag cruise ships cannot be trusted. It is no coincidence that there has been no conviction of a Royal Caribbean crew member for rape, assault in the 40-year history of this cruise line. This cruise line has a documented history of covering up crimes. It uses the vast oceans for the discharge of its sewage, and in my case and hundreds of others, to conceal the epidemic of onboard crime. Thank you, and I'm in support.
Ms. Dishman, thank you so very much for your very eloquent testimony and your courage as a survivor to step forward. I very much appreciate it.